We on? Happy rising, everyone. We're gonna go for a quick chopper ride. Unfortunately, it's a sad one. It's a tragic one. Kind of a little bit of breaking morning news here. We got some other news that coming out of California. Also, we'll check out in a moment. We'll see how things go here. All right, got that on. What's up, Blazer? Good morning. I don't really like to say good morning. Brian, what's up? Yeah, there's a procession, I guess you call it, right now for LAPD Sargent. You can see the medical examiner's van there. They're headed actually to the coroner's office here, or medical examiner's office. They used to call it the LA County Coroner's Office. And that's a few blocks from me right here. We've been there before. We shot a little video, and I've shared some experiences with that facility there before. And yeah, it's report goes, let's see, it was on the 405 freeway south. I think the sergeant was assisting maybe some other vehicles, and then was struck along with another person, and that other person also didn't make it. So this is a live feed from the chopper here. I think it's Fox News, and we'll check this out. There's my music. All right, we'll throw a little background sound, so just bear with me here. I think there might be audio on the chopper also. Let's check that out. What's up, Raymond?
Members that got that tragic word this morning. I couldn't just imagine being woken up to hear something like that. And then some of the other vehicles that we see may possibly have
Chopper's buffering.
That are joining that procession as well. The other vehicles that you see, the black and whites, most of those you can see have that number 8 on the rooftop.
And there was
that
a press conference earlier.
These are all the division from where Sergeant Dang it was servicing. So those might actually be close friends and members.
You're mentioning something about leaving the Hollenbeck division
on a personal level,
and heading over to the medical examiner's office.
Right there, making their
so
way
heads up, there's going to be quite a bit of traffic.
First stop, they're going to drive, not a stop, but the first spot they're going to go to is going to be LAPD Wilshire.
If you're out in the LA area,
division, and then they're going to be making
that's how we're popping off this week.
I'm still up in Sky.
Last night there wasn't any stringers on. AXN News or the typical guys we see weren't out. So this was
thank you.
Usually we get news like this that happens over the weekend, overnight, through the stringers that go out to these calls and locations where things are happening. That's a way, and actually they sell a lot of their footage to the news channels and stuff like that. So it's another way of getting information
for y'all on YouTube. We're going to keep an eye on this.
Of information for us out here in the big city. And we've been talking about Bakersfield,
like I said,
having quite a lot of stringers. I mean, there's one guy who's out right now
pretty solid. I would venture
morning
to say
stringing out in Bakersfield. I was like, wow. Definitely can't do that in LA. I would imagine the traffic.
Yes, that there's going to be a large
would make it too difficult. But the Bakersfield guys, I'm telling you, it's like 5 or 6 of them that go stringing all throughout the week, pretty much. It seems like. And they get things. There's a lot happening in Bakersfield. I was not aware how much of action they get out there, but
in the procession anymore. So
anyway, so the stringers didn't get to cover this.
Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, and it's not a slight. It is just
like I said, there's other California news.
Or maybe they're right
we'll
there.
Get into
Let's see
some tragic news out at Lake Tahoe.
SUVs? No,
and I know in about 20 minutes.
I mean, that is a black
Jessica will be
SUV, but we did see that those Denali's down there, and I think that was Chief McDonald.
I usually hang out in the chat with you guys there, have a lot of fun over there. So
But
We'll be
at
doing that.
any
What's up,
rate, right now
Gustavo?
we made our
Buenos
way onto Sepulveda
dias,
Boulevard, southbound,
Gustavo.
continuing on pretty
And Gustavo,
slowly.
have you seen, speaking of the
This is one of
medical
those ones
examiner's
where
office,
it is.
there's
It's difficult.
the general hospital here in
It
LA,
really
which I'm very nearby. We've
it
done a
makes you
live stream
realize
there,
that
checked it out,
you
and
know
it came to
our
our radar because
mortality,
it was an
be
old
it
world.
as
To us,
far
it's an
as an
old world
officer,
building.
first responder,
And
or
we
just
did a
you
live
and
stream
I.
there. Checked it out. There
Things
was
happen.
some
This was an
statues,
accident.
interesting statues. It's Art
Preliminarily,
Deco
we're
style.
hearing that the driver
I
that actually
believe
struck
a possum popped out on
the
us. We were trying to
officer
figure
and
out
the
how to
other
get into
person
the building. We walked
was
up these stairs,
not
and it was like this rooftop
inebriated.
up
There's
there.
no indication at
And this
all that there was
possum was
an
up there
issue.
too, along
It
with us.
was
I don't
just
know
a
if any of you
tragic
remember that. It was
accident
like last
in the
year.
early morning hours. And
And
again, this is just a little PSA, and
yeah,
it's
so John
difficult for me
Levi,
to say it, but it actually is
YouTube
something
channel
that
that does the
officers
old
say
world
all the
topic,
time too. Is
his
if you're
previous
in an
video
accident on
touched
the
on that, and his
freeway
latest video
or your
actually touched
vehicle
on a lot
becomes
of things
disabled
that we've been
on the
talking about. The
freeway,
trains been
and
coming up a whole lot
you
in
know
our
it's one of those ones where it's like,
conversations.
well, your car could be rear-ended, that could
So he
catch
touched on the
fire.
trains and all that.
Yes, that is
But his
true,
last video,
but
he did touch on General
most of the
Hospital
crashes
there.
that we see
And so I thought that was
are
pretty cool.
people outside of their vehicles
Let's
and
see
being
who else
struck
is
by
popping in
someone
here.
who
The Bud.
isn't
Good
aware
morning. Is it
that
morning
there's
for
an
everyone out
accident
there? I know
ahead.
we get a few West
So
Coasters out
just
here.
I tell
Roxanne.
my kids and
Roger,
my
what's up?
loved ones all the time,
There's
if you have
Gerald.
a problem on the freeway, stay in the vehicle.
There's
And
Jackie. There's
I
a
hope
West
that
Coaster there.
information
I know most of you probably are
will be
not
the
out
right
in the West Coast,
information.
and
But at any rate, we're continuing on.
it's still morning for me here.
That's
Yeah, I
actually
got a
Fox
day
Sports
off,
right there that
so
we're
we'll be
passing
hanging
by
out a little
right
later.
now
We got
on Sepulveda
still thinking
Boulevard
of
as we're
getting back
continuing
into
this
Siskiyou County.
procession,
We were
making their
touching
way
on some
to
missing
the
persons
West LA
cases up that
station,
way,
where they're going to do
and I thought we
a
should get into some of the
slow moving
Bigfoot reports
drive-by.
that come out from that
And
county.
another thing too
That
is
is where
Mayor
Mount
Bass
Shasta
said
is.
that
So
they
there's a
were
lot
going
that I
to
found. Maybe we could get into that stuff
fly
later
all the flags in Los
today.
Angeles at half staff. It also shows. Oh, they're the SUVs. I knew I knew that they weren't gonna bail. But
Oh,
those
all
are
right.
the
This is the
Denali
news feed.
SUVs
All
that I
right,
was
give me a
talking about.
second.
So one of those has Mayor Bass in it. The other one has probably Chief McDonald.
Boom. Yeah, notice that. I think that's what you're talking about, Brian. Even when I turn down the news feed here, like the levels on the audio interface should be turning it down. So that's the music there. So I guess when I turn it down, it turns it down on my headphones, but not for you there. So I'm talking over the news feed, and that sucks. I've seen that happen. It's funny. Riverside, the platform that I'm using to stream, are actually having they're having a live I guess like kind of a course, you would call it, I guess. I don't know. But they're showing you how, and they're showing some of the latest features. They have brought out some new features and that are pretty cool. So they're going through all of that. And that's live right now on Riverside YouTube, and I'm sure on their Facebook. So I was paying attention there, and I think that's what was happening there. Brian, thank you for that. So I went ahead and muted it on the stream, and now you should just hear me in a little bit of music. And if not, then I don't know what's going on, but we're going to continue checking this out as they drive over. And as they get closer, we'll probably be able to hear the helicopter. Anyway, I wanted to greet everyone. What's up, Heidi? Just gave you a heart like over on Instagram. I popped over to Instagram really quick to get my stream key to stream it here. Yeah, we're streaming on Instagram and several other platforms. Still keeping that going, although we don't get, I don't know if we get any feedback over there or not. But what's up to everyone over there? And Heidi's picture popped up there. So I don't know if you just posted that or what, or the algorithm. And then your shorts come up a whole lot too, which are cool, and it's good to see that you're getting a lot of traction there with those shorts on the YouTube side of things. But yeah, click that little heart. Some more hearts for you there and everyone else. But yeah, yeah, tragic by a vehicle, a little buffering there. Looked like the chopper was buffering too. And also another person, I don't know the exact details, but they are heading over. Let's see. Yeah, they said they're heading over to the medical examiner's office, which is very close by here. And I was touching on that, and we've done some uh walk around. No, actually, we just hung out in front of the coroner's office last time, and we're checking it out. Did a little video because I think it's one of those old world buildings. It's an old brick, beautiful brick building. And there goes a commercial. Supposed to have that loop. What happened? Yeah, we're just popping on here. I'm telling you, kind of all over the place. But anyway, I'm not used to these morning streams. Let's loop that. Let's loop a track right quick. But yeah, the medical examiner's office is very nearby. About, I wouldn't even say 5 minutes. And I was touching on John Levi because you got the general hospital right nearby the medical examiner's office. And John Levi, the YouTuber, old world YouTuber, touched on that particular building. We did a outside exploration of that building there, the general hospital, and it's still in use. I guess parts of it is not being used. I think the upper levels or something like that. People do get in there. We're trying to figure that out, and weren't able to make it. Ran into a possum near the rooftop there. You can check it out. It's an old live stream from like last year. And but he touched on yeah, it being an old worlder. And yeah, I should have brought to his attention that the medical examiner, which isn't far from there, is another building. And I've talked about how that medical examiner's office, it goes underground. I've been in there and I've gone to some of the levels in the elevator. But there's a particular level, there's the floor level where, you know, they do all the work and stuff. And we weren't allowed on that level there, which I was very interested. You know, it's a morbid thing, but I've always been fascinated. You know, we, especially in our culture, I want to say, there's a thing with death. You know, Dia de los Muertos and stuff like that. We honor the death, and just like the birth. Um, yeah, so something about, I don't know, being Los Angeles, all the different famous cases and stuff, and medical examiners and this and that. You know, I've always been interested in that stuff, and finally got to check it out. I think they still have a souvenir store there. At least they had one back in the day, and they had their little merch and stuff. LA County Coroner, but like I said, it changed to medical examiner's office now. So maybe they switched the gear to that. Who knows? Tales told in the dark up in here. Right on. Seen they were active this weekend. Salute BLB up in there. Red, what up? Dreader than dread, man. Yeah. Bless up. And hopefully it's a happy rising for everyone. We got that June gloom going on. So it's all June funk, I call it. So it's not pretty outside. And a heads up again, traffic. I don't know what, let's see, where are we? Everyone have a good weekend. What's up, Hillbilly Herb? earlier I was talking about the stringers not covering this LA. You know, there's a few channels we follow. Was it Chasing Reality, AXN News? These guys go to the scenes and give us the live feed on what's going on out in the concrete jungle. And none of the guys were out last night. I was talking about Bakersfield stringers being very active, and a bunch of them throughout the week. You know, even several of them during daytime. There's one actually on right now. He's stringing in the morning out in Bakersfield, going to calls and stuff. But I was saying that you can't do that in LA, especially with the traffic. It would just be too difficult to do. And but I was surprised that none of the LA guys were out last night. They do cover the weekends. And yeah, this would have been a big scene to be at for the speaking for the stringers. You can see the freeway being blocked there. And I would imagine, let's see, what freeway is that? All right. So the incident happened on the 405 South. We could have a listen in. Let's see. Let's listen to the chopper, see what they got to say. And about 2 a.m. last night, that 405, let me tell you, it gets dangerous. A lot of mountain lions have been struck there as well. We've been talking about that. And for a sergeant to be struck is just really shocking to me.
Copy all. Thank you, Kevin.
You would think they would be very aware, you know, of their surroundings and everything. But you know, when it's time, it's time, and it's gonna happen how it's gonna happen. With all respect to everyone, you know. Yeah, I just feel like that. You know, we question like how and what could you have done to prevent certain things, and I just think, yeah, you know, I'm one of those at this point where it's just like you never know how and when, but it'll happen. We just gotta pray for the best. And hopefully you leave here in a good way. Patricia, bem-vindo. And good morning to you out in Brazil. What's up, the battle? Yeah, no, I got Shasta things lined up. I've been on a whole Shasta trip, so we'll go ahead and do that. And the battle saying you could honestly do shows about Shasta and probably have enough content. I got really obsessed with the mountain. It can get spooky up there. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, I got quite a bit. We were getting into the missing persons cases up there. And we continued a second live stream touching on more of the cases, some more Shasta, some updates on some cases, some information that I didn't know about other cases.
Well, I'll make it work. I appreciate the heads up.
And this might be Stu in the chopper.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And we'll have the shot regardless.
And so, yeah, I want to continue the Shasta trip with some Bigfoot reports. And I got them lined up, ready to go here. Let's see, it's 9 minutes till 10. And Jessica will be on. So we'll jump off of here in a little bit. Go hang out over there. Have a session. And then we'll go on this whole Shasta trip. And actually, we'll also report now a tragic incident out in Lake Tahoe. You know, we've been checking out these live stream webcams.
Making the transition right now from the southbound 405 onto the eastbound 10.
All right. And the 10.
And I think for the better portion of it. I don't have. My phone has gone back to SOS, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, the 10 is very nearby here. Actually, the let's see, what's the free
Something to think about is
5 freeway goes by the medical examiner's office. There's an entrance
you
right
know what?
across the street.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm just not.
And so yeah, we've been checking out these live stream webcams from some of my favorite places. And a lot of the places I'm able to find the cams from have Bigfoot activity. So like the Redwoods, what is it? Yosemite. We got cameras. We've been checking out cameras. Where else? Lake Tahoe is another one. And so Lake Tahoe had tragic news this weekend. 6 people passed away in a boating incident, some sort of capsizing is what I heard. And I think I got the news. Here, we'll check that out in a bit here. I'll pull that up and we'll touch on that. But yeah, no, and then I was hearing something about a storm possibly being involved there on the lake. And I don't know, Inside Edition looks like they dropped something just a few minutes ago on that. I didn't hear any other news sources touching on it, so I didn't get much information, but I got the breaking news right away from local NorCal news, and I want to get more details on that. Very tragic. Prayers again, condolences to all those victims out there, and six people. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that out of Lake Tahoe. But then again, we don't get a lot of the news from up that way, so I don't expect Southern California to even hear about that. Yeah, that is Stu, right, Rid? And just a heads up, Rid, the shop is closed today. We are now closing on Mondays. It gives us a day off here. And the last few Mondays, I've been wanting to jump on here early to hang out and get into the things I've been wanting to get into. But let me tell you, even last night, I was going to chop it up and it just didn't happen. It's weird how that energy flows and goes and comes. And but yeah, this is going to definitely cause some traffic. Luckily, I don't have to be out there, and we're able to watch this. We'll do another coroner's office trip. Maybe we'll try to get closer. The time that we went, they have security on ground, so we couldn't walk onto the grounds there. But I wanted to go take a little walk and check it out. And I've gotten some stories from there. There's these ladies that work there that told me about when Biggie Smalls went through there, and they gave us some interesting details. Some of the details that I would like to hear on a lot of cases, and it was just basically explaining, that yeah, it was him, and they described him and what it looked like. And I thank them for sharing that. Yeah, sometimes I like hearing the gory details of things. All right. Yeah, come on through the Rid. We got you. We got some nice pieces. We got you. Actually sold a few pieces this weekend. It was a good weekend. And hopefully the week continues. Yeah, we thought maybe taking Mondays off would kind of really throw things off, but it hasn't, and people are getting the word, and we do get people come by and they're like, "Hey, you weren't open this day or this time." sometimes I gotta lock up to go use the restroom or whatever, go do something in the back. People, will miss me, but if you see plants outside and the Bigfoot hanging outside, you know that we're there. Salute to you, brother Nighthawk. Yeah, what do we want to get into? We're gonna get into Mount Shasta a little later. We're just counting down till 10 o'clock to check out Jessica Jones. What are they talking about over there today? I'm sure it's gonna be something wild. And I do enjoy bringing you all along these chopper rides. It's always fun. I've never been on a chopper. Been on several airplanes. I don't mind airplanes, choppers. I'd get on a chopper. Anyone afraid of helicopters or airplanes? I've met several people that don't do flying and stuff like that. And even with all the, we've been reporting all the plane incidents, all the air incidents have been going on, and I've heard there's a couple that I've missed. One going off the runway recently, off of runway 33 again, which is kind of funny or kind of odd because what was it? The big chopper crash that happened over in DC. I believe they wasn't the plane that took off of there off of lane 33 also. It's one of these recent big incidents where that number seems to be coming up on the lanes a lot. Something to take note of. Monisha, greetings. Is it still morning for you, Monisha? Is it happy rising or good afternoon? Well, both anyway. What's up, Roger? And so medical examiner's office, again, just not far from here. We mentioned trains. The train actually goes by there and the general hospital. Something to keep in mind, old worlders, for you into the Tartaria old world topic. I was mentioning John Levi touching on the general hospital here and it being an old world building. And I've been touching on the medical examiner's office, which is right by the general hospital, it being an old world building. I don't know exactly what style it is. I'll have to look it up, but it grabs my attention. It goes underground. I'm sure General Hospital, without a doubt, goes underground. And then you got the train that goes by. Sometimes we hear the train. I tell everyone all aboard. We get the train going by here, and that goes right by the General Hospital and those two buildings too. So something to keep in mind there. We'll have to look at that at a map with a map and see what other old world structures are going to be around that area there and what would be underground. All this stuff is starting to pop in my head now that I'm thinking of this. So yeah, John Levi, his previous YouTube channel, check it out. You'll see General Hospital pop up there. I think he even mentioned how his mom used to watch General Hospital. Whose mom didn't watch General Hospital? You've watched it. You caught a few episodes of General Hospital. Sure, some of you are hardcore General Hospital fans. All right. Still got our music playing there. You love flowing just a handful of times. What's up? You kick raps, freestyles? Is that why they call you the battle? No worries, Tina C. You could always we'll be hanging out later. We got the day off, so and I'm sure you got news about what's going on here. And of course, the rest of the world that I was trying to break the news the other day. That didn't work out for me. Trying to share a news article, and yeah, we're dropping bombs now and everything. It's been getting super intense. The protests, I mean, all that's calmed down, the protests and stuff, but that was a wild week there. And it just rolled on over to this whole situation going on. uh, in other parts of the world, which is not surprising at the same time because right when those bombs had dropped, it was right when what was it? Summer. It's the solstice starting. hmm. Yeah. When did those bombs drop? Was it the 21st, 20th? When's the summer solstice? And I'm sure there was other rituals and celebrations going on at the same time. Should be expected. Anyone? I don't know. Anyone think about it like that or catch that? Yeah, some of us knew already that things were going to be happening on specific dates, and sure enough, things have been popping off. Right on, Tina. C, you're in the spirit. Bless up, bless up. Yeah. All right, 10:02 here. Is Jessica on? Here, we got to jump on over there. We'll catch y'all in a bit. Thank you for hanging out this morning. Have a great rest of the day. I don't know, maybe what 11 midday. We'll probably hop back on here and get into the Mount Shasta Bigfoot reports and other. There's some giant stuff there too. We'll get into that, y'all. Come on back. Come on with it.